Hello all, welcome you to the course on corporate laws and governance. In this video, we are going to look at the prohibition of anti-competitive agreements under the Competition Act. First, let us understand what is an agreement under the Competition Act. According to the competition laws in India, agreement means any kind of arrangements or understanding or the action in concert, whether it is formal or in writing, whether or not it is legally enforceable, it is considered to be an agreement. For an agreement, there should be two companies who have come to some kind of arrangements. Then what is anti-competitive agreement? Any agreement for goods or services which has an appreciable adverse effect on competition is considered to be anti-competitive in nature. Section 3, subsection 1 of the Competition Act deals with the prohibition of anti-competitive agreement. According to this section, anti-competitive agreement prohibition means no enterprise shall enter into any agreement with respect of production, supply, distribution, storage, acquisition or control of goods or provision of services which causes or is likely to cause appreciable adverse effect on competition within India. Here, if we look at the term enterprise, the term enterprise is used in a very broader perspective by the competition law. Enterprise includes individuals, group of individuals, enterprises as well as group of enterprises. When we say the individuals, it includes any artificial legal person. It also includes the Hindu undivided family. When we say group of individuals, even the cooperative societies are considered to be the enterprise. Similarly, when we say group of enterprise, that means two or more companies have the control over the affairs of another company, or two or more companies have the capacity to appoint more than 50% of the directors of the board, or two or more companies have more than 26% voting rights in another company. And when we talk about this enterprise means that company is involved in any kind of economic activity or commercial activity. If we look at the case of Jindal Steel and Power Limited versus Steel Authority of India Limited, the Competition Commission of India made it very clear that even the public sector undertakings, government departments are considered to be the enterprise as long as they are involved in the commercial activity. And in this particular case, they made it very clear that Steel Authority of India as well as Indian Railways fall under enterprise as they are involved in the commercial activity. Only those government departments that are into sovereign activities will not be considered as enterprise. This with respect to the anti-competitive agreement, the Competition Commission of India always defines the relevant product market as well as the relevant geographical market in order to identify whether a particular agreement is anti-competitive or not. When we say relevant product, what the Competition Commission of India means is any product which are interchangeable or substitutable by the consumers in terms of price, quality or the intended use. And what is relevant geographical market? According to the Competition Commission of India, relevant geographical market means a particular geographical area where the conditions of competition are identical or are homogeneous and which is different from the neighboring geographical market. Now let us learn about the factors determining the appreciable adverse effect on competition. Section 19, subsection 3 of the Competition Act deals with the factors that determines the appreciable adverse effect on competition. One is creating barriers to the new entrants into the market. If the existing players in the market are going to come to an agreement with the objective of stopping any new company to enter into the market, then it is said to be having appreciable adverse effect on competition. Similarly, if few of the players in the market are going to join hands in order to drive out the other players in the market, then it is also said to be having appreciable adverse effect on competition. Sometimes the companies come to an agreement among themselves with the objective of preventing, restricting or distorting the competition, like involving themselves with price fixation, bid rigging or market allocation. And all these activities are they are supposed to be having the appreciable adverse effect on competition. When the companies are going to be big in terms of resources, in terms of sizes, what happens in terms of the market size, there are chances they may involve themselves with the unfair and discriminatory practices. When they are going to be unfair in their trade practices, or when they are going to discriminate their clients or their customers or their suppliers, then those activities are said to be having appreciable adverse effect on competition. Any practices or any activities of any company which will harm the interest of the consumers, and all these practices are considered to be the anti-competitive in nature. There are two types of anti-competitive agreements. One is horizontal anti-competitive agreements. Section 3, subsection 3 of the Competition Act deals with this. Another is the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Section 3, subsection 4 of the Competition Act deals with this. Now let us understand what is a horizontal anti-competitive agreement. When there is going to be agreement among the manufacturers or among the distributors or among the suppliers who are in the same line of business, basically, when their agreements are going to be anti-competitive in nature, then it is prohibited. So basically, when we say horizontal anti-competitive agreements, here the agreements are made between the people who are in the same line of business. It could be between the manufacturers, it could be between the retailers, it could be between the wholesalers, it could be between the suppliers. We always talk about joint ventures. Joint ventures means two companies come together and they form the alliance in order to further the business. Mainly the objective is to develop the business. Joint ventures are not considered to be anti-competitive in nature as per the Competition Act, and in case if anyone feels that a particular joint venture results in anti-competitive behavior, then the responsibility of proving that the joint venture is anti-competitive lies on the person who feels that this kind of joint venture is against the healthy competition. There are different types of horizontal anti-competitive agreements. One is the price fixing agreement. Section 3, subsection 3A of the Competition Act deals with that. The next is limiting or controlling production and investment. Section 3, subsection 3B of the Competition Act looks into it. Market allocation and sharing are taken care by Section 3, subsection 3C of the Competition Act looks into it. bid rigging or collusive bidding are taken care by section 3, subsection 3D looks into this. Now let us look at each of this type one by one. First is to do with the price fixing. According to section 3, subsection 3A, an agreement which directly or indirectly determines the prices which is expected to have an appreciable adverse effect on competition, then it is said to be price fixing and it is prohibited by the Act. If we look at the case of Express Industry Council of India versus Jet Airways, Indigo Airways and SpiceJet Airways, here the informant felt that the Indian domestic airways, the players of the Indian domestic airways were into price fixing with respect to the fuel surcharge that was charged for the cargo transportation. They made a complaint to the Competition Commission of India, and the Director General looked into the matter and they investigated this particular matter. The investigation revealed that not all the players in the airline industry were involved in the fixing of fuel surcharge for the cargo transportation. And the investigation revealed these companies, Jet Airways, Indigo Airways and SpiceJet Airways, were into this kind of price fixation between the period 2008 and 11, and as a result of which the Competition Commission of India fined these 3 companies to the tune of rupees 55 crores. Next, if we look at the case between Mr. Samir Agarwal versus Ola and Uber, in this case Mr. Samir Agarwal alleged that Ola and Uber are in price fixation, and they were in an agreement where the prices were fixed through the pricing algorithm, and he also felt that neither the consumers nor the drivers have the freedom to choose the price that they want to go with. But the Competition Commission of India felt that Ola and Uber were never in agreement with one another, and even for that matter there was no agreement between the Ola and Uber with their respective drivers, and all these price fixations were, all the prices were actually determined by big data through the price algorithm, normally depending on the time of the day, depending on what type of day, whether it is a weekday or a weekend, whether it is a festival day, and basically this price algorithm looks at the demand and supply position at a particular period, and it comes out with the price, and there was no price fixation happening neither between Ola and Uber nor between the company with its drivers. So the case was dismissed and the case went in favor of Ola and Uber. Next, let us look at limits or controls. What is this limits or controls? Here, any agreement between the firms which either limits or controls the supply, markets, technical development, production, provision of services, which is deemed to have any appreciable adverse effect on competition, is considered to be anti-competitive in nature. If we look at the case of Builders Association of India versus cement manufacturers and others, here the informant felt that there were 11 companies, 11 cement companies, they were sharing price sensitive information and other trading secrets among themselves in their meetings in the Cement Manufacturers Association, which was actually formed for discussing the general matters that affect the cement industry. But this forum was used by these 11 cement companies to discuss about their production strategies and the pricing strategies. So the Competition Commission of India looked into the matter and they conducted the investigation, and if we look at the Director General felt while checking the production capacity utilization of the company, and what the investigation revealed was the cement manufacturing company's capacity utilization fell from 90% in 2005-06 to 73% in 2010-11. But the investigation also revealed, though there is a reduction in the production capacity, the prices were increasing drastically for all these 11 companies. But when we compare the increased prices with the cost of raw materials, the cost of production was not increasing on par with the increase in the prices. And moreover, the Director General felt that cement industry has the nature of this oligopolistic market, where normally there would be a market leader who would be fixing the price, and the other players in the market would be following that. And the investigation revealed that there was a cartel arrangement among these 11 cement manufacturing companies, where they intentionally reduced their production capacity with the intention of charging a higher price by creating an artificial scarcity in the market, and thereby charging a higher price. So the Competition Commission of India fined these 11 cement manufacturers to the tune of 6,700 crores, which was 0.5% of their net turnover. Next is the case of Sunshine Pictures Private Limited and Eros International Media Limited versus the Central Circuit Cine Association and others. If you look at this case, the informant claimed that the Central Circuit Cine Association was actually restraining the screening of the films, and the investigation also confirmed the same, that the Central Circuit Cine Association was restraining the exhibition of films, as a result of which the association was fined the 10% of the average of 3 years of their receipts. Now let us look at the market allocation and sharing. Section 3 subsection 3C of the Competition Act deals with this market allocation and sharing. As per this section, an agreement among the enterprises where they decide the production, supply or provision of services based on the geographical area of the market. Basically what it says is, here the companies will come to an agreement where each of them would be taking either a particular geographical area and or they may go for a particular set of customers. The objective of doing so is that they will have the monopoly power in the particular geographical area. No other company will come and sell their product in that particular area, as a result of which they will be having the monopoly power and they will be making a huge profit. When such an agreement happens among the companies, then it is considered to be anti-competitive in nature. Not necessarily it is always the allocation of geographical area, even customer allocation among the players is considered to be market allocation and sharing, and it is prohibited under section 3 subsection 3C of the Competition Act. Next, let us look at bid rigging or collusive bidding. Section 3 subsection 3D deals with that. According to this particular section, any agreement between market players and enterprises involved in similar production or trading of goods or provision of services which directly or indirectly reduces the competition for bid. If two or more companies are going to come together in deciding on the bidding price that they would be quoting for the tenders, then it is considered to be anti-competitive and it is supposed to have an appreciable adverse effect on the competition. Let us look at the case of Food Corporation of India versus the aluminium phosphide tablets manufacturers. Here in this particular case, aluminium phosphide tablets manufacturers were actually coming with a similar bidding price for any tender that Food Corporation of India was coming out with. They were quoting the same price, as a result of which the Food Corporation of India could not get a competitive bid, and here the Competition Commission of India also confirmed that these companies were, there were 3 companies, these 3 companies were coming out with the same bidding price, as a result of which the Food Corporation of India lost the chance of getting a competitive bid for their tender. And here if you look at it, the Competition Commission of India fined these 3 companies to the tune of 9% of their 3 years average profit. Now let us look at the case of Union of India versus Hindustan Development Corporation and others. In this particular case, Indian Railways went for a limited tender for the cast steel bogies, and in this particular tender there were 2 big players who came out with a similar bid price, which was lower in comparison with other bidding price by the small companies. So Indian Railways felt that these 2 companies might have come to a collusive bidding, and they have quoted a lesser price for the tender. So what they did was, Indian Railways gave the contract to these 2 big suppliers at a offer price of rupees 65,000 rupees per bogies, and for the small companies they granted the contract with an offer price of rupees 76,000 per bogie. So there was a kind of dual pricing here for the same similar contract, 2 different offer price, lesser offer price for these 2 big companies, and the higher offer price for the small companies. And Indian Railways also felt that these 2 the small companies were sick actually, and they were trying to turn around their business operation, and they were given a better offer price. So these 2 big companies went to the court, and when the Competition Commission of India looked into this particular matter, they told that there was no proof that these 2 big companies were in collusion, and they came with a lower price for the tender, and they have this Competition Commission of India directed Indian Railways to go with an offer price of rupees 67,000 per bogie for all the companies to whom the Indian Railways have granted the contract. Next, let's get into the vertical anti-competitive agreements. Vertical and anti-competitive agreements happen between the players who are in the different stages of production or in different stages of the supply chain. That means the vertical anti-competitive agreements would happen between the manufacturer and the supplier. It may happen between the manufacturer and the wholesaler. It may be between the manufacturer, wholesaler and the retailer. So it is not that this agreement does not happen between the people who are in the same line of business, like between the manufacturer and manufacturer, between the supplier and supplier. It is not so. Here the agreement is between between the people who are in the different stages of production. There are different types of vertical anti-competitive agreements. One is tie-in arrangement. The next is the exclusive supply arrangement. The next is exclusive distribution arrangement. Then we have refusal to deal and resale price maintenance. What is tie-in arrangement? Tie-in arrangement means here when one company sells its product, they will be selling the complementary products along with the products, in the sense they will be compelling the consumers to also buy the complementary products along with the main product that they sell, and this complementary products could be made by the suppliers. When they do that, this is called as a tie-in arrangement. For instance, when when a refrigerator company sells the refrigerators, it may also compel the consumers to go for the stabilizer. Or when a car manufacturer sells the car, they may be compelling the company to go with a specific car insurance, or they may be mentioning about the kind of CNG kit that they should be using. When they are going to do that, this is called as tie-in arrangement. Exclusive supply arrangement means here there is an agreement between two people where one company is compelled to get their raw materials only from the company with which they have the agreement here. So, this is called as exclusive supply arrangement. Exclusive distribution arrangement means there is an agreement between the manufacturer and the distributor, where the distributor can sell only the specific company's product, or they may have to deal only in a specific geographical area. When we get into this refusal to deal, here there is an agreement between two companies where one company tells that the other company cannot deal with any other company's product. Resale price maintenance means here there is an agreement between, there could be an agreement between the supplier and the manufacturer, or between the manufacturer and the wholesaler and the retailer, where the other party cannot reduce the price other than the price that's been quoted by the manufacturer. They cannot go below the price that's already been fixed by the manufacturer. They cannot go with discounts, or they cannot sell the product at a lesser price. All these are not allowed. That is called as resale price maintenance. Now, let us look at some of the case laws that we have in the vertical agreements. The first one is Mr. Ramakant Kini versus Dr. L. Hirnandani Hospital. In this particular case, Hirnandani Hospital was having a agreement or arrangement with the cryobanks. Cryobanks deals with the stem cell banking services. As per this agreement, anyone who gets admitted in Hirnandani Hospital for maternity services, and if they want to avail the stem banking services, then they can do only with cryobanks, not with any other player. So, one Mrs. Jain who got admitted in Hirnandani Hospital for the maternity services, she wanted to go with the live cell for the stem banking services. Here she was denied that, and it was the hospital told that she can only go with the cryobanks and not with live cell. So, she went to the Competition Commission of India. The Competition Commission of India investigated the matter, and they felt that the kind of agreement that Hirnandani Hospital has with cryobanks is anti-competitive in nature. And if you look at it, it is more like a tie-in arrangement, and which is actually creating an appreciable adverse effect on competition. And the Competition Commission of India declared whatever agreement that Hirnandani Hospital was having with cryobanks was null and void, and the Competition Commission of India also fined the hospital for this agreement, and they wanted them to do away with such agreements. Now, let us look at the case between Shri Ghanshyam Das Vij versus Bajaj Corporation Limited and others. Here, the informant alleged that that Bajaj Corporation was actually getting into this resale price maintenance, in the sense that no distributor is allowed to sell the almond hair oil below the price that's been quoted by Bajaj Corporation. So, this comes under the resale price maintenance, and Shri Ghanshyam Das also alleged that no distributor can deal in any other geographical area other than the geographical area that's been allotted by Bajaj Corporation. And the allegation was these two resale price maintenance and exclusive distribution arrangement were anti-competitive in nature. The Competition Commission of India actually looked into this particular matter, and they found out that whatever resale price maintenance that Bajaj was telling, it was not actually as per the, when they looked into the contract, it was more of recommendatory in nature than compelling the distributor to not to go for the prices below the price that's been quoted for Bajaj for the almond hair oil. So it was not anti-competitive in nature. Moreover, another observation that was made by the Competition Commission of India was that if you look at the health and beauty segment, there are too many brands available, and because of this exclusive distribution arrangement, we do not have any kind of appreciable adverse effect on competition. For the reason the consumers have choices, they have multiple choices with respect to the brands. So they can always go for different brands that are available in the different with the different distributors. So there is no problem, or there is no question of anti-competitive behavior with respect to exclusive distribution arrangement also. And if we look at this particular case, this case was in favor of Bajaj Corporation. And now let us move on to the case between FX Enterprise Solutions India versus Hyundai Motor India Limited. Here the informant alleged that Hyundai was having a, it was actually stopping the dealers to deal with other car brands, and another complaint was that the dealers were not to allow discounts for on the cars while selling, and they have to go with the price that the Hyundai has quoted. So this comes under the resale price maintenance. And one more thing was Hyundai was compelling the dealers to suggest or to sell the specific CNG kits and specific lubricants and specific insurance, car insurance to the consumers. So this comes under the tie-in arrangement. So all these allegations that was made by the informant was investigated by the Competition Commission of India. And the Competition Commission of India felt that there was a problem of resale price maintenance, because the dealers were not allowed to go for the discounts, and they were continuously monitored by Hyundai through their discount control mechanism. And of course there was a problem of selling the complementary products like the CNG kits as well as lubricants, and which was also considered to be, as well as the insurance policies. And as a result of which the Competition Commission of India fined Hyundai to the tune of 87 crore rupees, which was 0.3% of the average relevant turnover of the past 3 financial year of Hyundai Motors India Limited. Next, let us look at the case of Maruti Suzuki India Limited. Here in this case, the Competition Commission of India got an anonymous email from one of the dealers who alleged that Maruti Suzuki India Limited was actually was following that resale price maintenance, and they were not allowing the dealers to go for discounts on their cars while selling it. And there was also an agreement. Of course, there was a continuous Maruti Suzuki India Limited was having the discount control mechanism, and they were continuously monitoring whether the dealers were charging discounts other than that's been given by the company, or are they charging a lesser price than what is being quoted by Maruti Suzuki India Limited. And the company was actually monitoring it, and whenever they found out that the dealers were selling the cars at a price lesser than what has been quoted by Maruti Suzuki India Limited, they were penalized for that, and they were also asked to and they were also threatened not to threatened that they will not be given the certain premium cars for selling. And all these allegations were actually investigated by the Competition Commission of India, and they also made an observation that Maruti Suzuki India Limited in fact had the discount control mechanism system in place, and they were also, not only that, where they continuously monitored the discounts that the dealers were giving for the Maruti Suzuki cars. Not only that, they were having mystery shoppers. These mystery shoppers will be visiting the dealers, pretending to be the consumers, and they will be checking whether these dealers are giving discounts than the one that's been prescribed by the Maruti Suzuki India Limited. And if they found out that the dealer has involved in such an activity, these mystery shoppers who had been appointed or employed by the Maruti Suzuki India Limited, they would also in fact send the video and the audio proof to the company Maruti Suzuki, who will take action on the dealers. And it was confirmed by the Competition Commission of India through their investigation, and as a result of which Competition Commission of India fined Maruti Suzuki India Limited to the tune of rupees 200 crores, and they have been asked to go for a behavioral modification also. Now let us look at the case of Federation of Hotel and Restaurant Association of India versus Make My Trip India Private Limited. In this case, the informant alleged that Make My Trip India Private Limited was giving preferential treatment to Oyo hotels in their website, in the hotel listing. So this was one of the complaint. Another complaint was that Make My Trip India Private Limited was going for deep discounts in the hotel prices, in the room rentals. They were going for a very deep discount, as a result of which they were actually enjoying a very dominant position. This was actually giving them a monopoly power. Another thing was another complaint was to do with the resale price maintenance, wherein Make My Trip India was having an agreement with their hotel partners, wherein the hotel partners should follow the price parity. What is this price parity? Whatever prices that's been quoted for that particular hotel in the Make My Trip website, they should quote the same price in their website too. They cannot go for any other price that has been quoted in the Make My Trip website. So this is one thing, and they were also not to list their hotels in any other website other than Make My Trip India as well as the IBBO. So these were the complaints that was against the Make My Trip India Private Limited. One is the preferential treatment that was given to Oyo. Next was to do with the exclusive arrangement, distribution arrangement, wherein the hotels are allowed to list only in Make My Trip IBBO websites, and they cannot list it in any other website other than their company. The next is to do with the resale price maintenance, where they have to have the price parity. Whatever prices that's been quoted in the Make My Trip India Limited for the particular hotel, they should quote the same price in their website also. And Competition Commission of India looked into all these matter, and they felt that there were anti-competitive arrangements or agreement, and it was creating an appreciable adverse effect on the competition in terms of the resale price maintenance, in terms of giving preferential treatment to the Oyo hotels, and in also compelling the hotels not to list their hotels in any other website other than in Make My Trip India Private Limited and IBBO. And since all these were found to be anti-competitive in nature, the Competition Commission of India fined Make My Trip India Private Limited to the tune of 392 crore rupees, and they were also asked to modify the agreements that they were having with the hotel partners, as it was anti-competitive in nature. So it was a case of both penalty as well as behavioral modification. The last case that we are going to look at is Jindal Steel and Power Limited versus Steel Authority of India Limited. Here the informant, that is the Jindal Steel and Power Limited, felt that the memorandum of understanding that Steel Authority of India was having with the Indian Railways for the long rails was considered to be anti-competitive in nature, because if we look at it, what Jindal Steel and Power felt was like all the long rail contracts were going to Steel Authority of India because of the memorandum of understanding, because it is to do with the exclusive supply arrangement. But what Competition Commission of India felt was there are some specifications that Indian Railways has with respect to the long rails, and the Steel Authority of India could come out with those long rails as per the specifications and the expectations of the Indian Railways, and they were also found to be very good with their welding capabilities at that particular time. At that time, it was also felt that with respect to long rails, Jindal Steel and Power Limited, their long rails were under testing at that particular time. So, the Competition Commission of India didn't feel that it was anti-competitive in nature, for the reason that Steel Authority of India could give what the Indian Railways was expecting, and moreover what the Competition Commission of India felt was still the Jindal Steel and Power Limited had 25% of the market, which was not under the control of the Indian Railways. We do have still 25% of the market that was under the control of non-Indian railway enterprises. So, the market is still there for Jindal Steel and Power. So, whatever MOU that Steel Authority of India and Indian Railways had was not considered to be anti-competitive in nature. Thanks for listening.